In this video, we are going to talk about types of loans that students can take. All right, so let's take a look at the following table. Okay, so the first thing you're going to need to do is differentiate between dependent students and independent students. So usually a student who is less than 24 years old, there is also a lot of other conditions on it, but they are considered dependent. So if you consider dependent, during your first year undergraduate degree, there is like a limit on how much you can borrow by applying through the FAFSA, right? Everybody knows about it. There's a special form. So you can get up to 5,500 from the government, from the federal government, except part of it is going to be what they call subsidized loans and part of it is unsubsidized. So what's the difference? And it says that only 3,500 can come from the subsidized loans. So this means if you are taking a loan that is subsidized, that means that you are not, let's say you're not repaying it. You took a loan and you wait until the end of your college once you graduate, then you decide to repay it. Well, there'll be some interest, right? That is going to accrue over the time you are in college. Well, guess what? The federal government is going to cover that. So if this is subsidized, you do not owe any interest on that amount. You will still have the same amount, 3,500. That's how much you will owe the government, which you will have to repay once you graduate. Okay, but the total is 5,500. So part of it is going to be unsubsidized. What is the difference? Well, you still get in the federal dollars from the federal government, but the interest is your responsibility. So you're not going to just have to pay, let's say you took 2,000 in unsubsidized loans, you will have to pay more once you graduate because the interest the government is not going to pick up. All right, so the amounts do change with your second year. Like if you're still there, they're like checking if you're still there, then you actually can borrow more, about 1,000 more of each, right? So 6,500 in total, out of which 4,500 can only come from the subsidized loans. Now for year 3 and all the other loans, the other years is 7,500. And unfortunately, I mean, usually people like assume that we graduate in 4 years. This does not happen. Most people actually, it takes them 5 years to graduate on average. So you might need another loan. However, you cannot exceed 31,000 taken from the government, in whether it's subsidized or not, cannot be more than that. 31,000 is like the limit. Okay, and what do you do when you run out of that money? Well, you go private. You try to find a private company that can loan you the money to finish your education. Okay, so that's basically the basic table. So let's take a look at this specific example. So here we have a dependent undergraduate student. So we have this column right here. And he is about to attend his 5th year. Ooh, oh my God, 5th year. That's not that great. Okay, so let's see how much he already borrowed. Let's see if we can start computing that. So for the first year, he took out 5,300. It doesn't actually matter in which subsidized, not subsidized, that's how much he took. Okay, plus year 2, 6,000. And then it says year 3 and 4, he took the maximum allowed. So that is 7,500 for year 3 and later. So let's add that. So it looks like he got 26,300 so far from the federal government. So now he's about to start his 5th year and hopefully his last year. Well, how much can he get? Well, if you're saying that he can get another 7,500, you would be wrong, and that is because you cannot have more than 31,000. So you can't, even though it says you can, get 7,500, you really can't, because you reach the limit. So how much can you? Well, we'll have to figure it out. So take 31,000, subtract 26,300, and see what that is. So that is 4,700. So you cannot get all the amount that is promised here because you already reached 31,000 threshold.